around the bed with her. And so this one little dog that we have, her name is Anna. We have two little poochies, little white poochies, and one is Anna and the other is Nicole. So, but Anna hides under the covers until I come along, and then I do her voice, and she knows it's time for her to come out. And she's under the covers, so I go, wow, wow, wow. She likes to begin with well, well, well. Wow, wow, wow. Until she gets out of the covers, wow, 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 wow. The daddy, once again we meet on the field of battle. And from then on, the show changes. It's different every day. I have no idea what she's going to say until she does. And then we get biscuits and go to bed. And then I go back to the studio and work. Yeah.
Have you met your counterpart in other languages, such as German or Japanese?
No, I wish I had. I've come very close. Like, I've been like a year apart from meeting Monkey Punch, and I was like, oh, come on. And the guy that's done Lupin, too. But the closest I've come to is I met the guy, what is the guy's name? He dresses like Lupin, has the big fro. Do you know what I'm talking about? He's a director from Japan. Namashi, yeah. He was at a convention, and he directed the Lupin Columbus Files movie, and I directed it here. So that was cool. And when he found out I was in the audience, he called me up on the stage and we hung out for a bit. And he said, through a translator, we should work together soon. I said, yeah, how do we do that? That'd be cool. It'll never happen. It was cool. It's cool of him to ask. Yes, way in the back.
I have to ask as a fan girl, if you wrote, you didn't use the backstory, taking it for Krillin for Hughes.
Yeah, but it's a very sordid tale. Gracia was working as in the porn industry.
What?
Actually, you know what? No, I didn't. Because Hughes, while he's a great part, and I did read the manga on it, he dies so quickly, that I really didn't have time to develop him. If he had been a long-running character, I probably would have filled in the blanks more. But his blanks keep getting filled in, with the OVAs and stuff, so it's kind of cool to find out more about him. No, Gracie was not in the porn industry. Yeah?
I have a two-part question from my sister. She would like to know how you got involved with the ElfQuest series, and which is your favorite character to draw?
I got involved with ElfQuest. I was, as I told you, I was a struggling cartoonist for many years, and I would go to Comic-Con and sell my comics. Eventually I became a self-publisher, and I did a book called Mr. Average. And I'd go to Comic-Con, but the thing about it was I sold a lot of books, but you deal with a lot of humiliation when you're a self-publisher and no one knows you. Like, people have no problem abusing you. Back then, manga was not as popular. Nobody even knew about manga, or certainly not the word. So black and white comics were kind of looked down upon by a certain sect of people there. And there were a certain sect of people who only sought that out. But I had people who would come to my tables and they would flip the book open just enough to see if it's in black and white or color and go, oh, it's black and white, I didn't read black and white, And it was that kind of, ugh. So here I am years later, and I'm on the highest rated animated TV show in the history of television. And they're bringing me back to Comic-Con, and they're paying me to go, which is amazing. And so I'm sitting here signing autographs for those same people, who were looking down on me, just begging for me to sign stuff, which was really cool. Victory, right? So I'm at the first signing, and I'm like so excited about this, but we were running late, so it was me and Chris Sabat, Stephanie Nadolny, and Sean Schimmel. And so we're running late, we get there, we just start signing. Now, what we didn't realize is that while we were gone, the guy who was running the Funimation table was supposed to set up an area for us to sign in. Well, every space, every inch was covered in merchandise, and there was no place for us to sign. So he asked the people in the booth next to him if we could sign in their area. Now, these booths are expensive. This is very expensive real estate, and it's very insulting even to ask. Well, these people happen to be Wendy and Richard Pini, who created a series called ElfQuest. Wendy, first of all, Richard said no, but Wendy is a fan of Dragon Ball Z. And she went, do Dragon Ball Z actors want to sign here? Yeah. And he's like, oh, So we came over, we had no idea. We were just told, we came in, they said, hurry up, sitting right here and start signing. So we're just signing away. I had no idea what was around me. I'm just signing and signing and signing, and there's a line that's going for hours. And, but people kept mentioning Wendy Pini's name. Now, I've been a fan of ElfQuest since I was 14 years old. And I finally said, is she around here? Why does people keep saying her name? And this guy I was signing for said, dude, she's right behind you. And I went, huh? And she was looking down going, hee, like that. I was like, oh my God, I'm a this fanboy. And then finally, when I could actually speak to her, I told her I'd been reading her book since I was 14 years old. And gosh, what an honor. And thank you so much for letting us sign here and stuff. And she told me she was a fan of our show. And I'm like, get out of town. And she said, yeah, it's just me and my dog Chewy. We take a break every day from the studio and go upstairs and watch Dragon Ball Z and get back to work. And I thought that was awesome. And she started drawing pictures of our characters with her characters. So I thought it would be nice to return the favor because she had no idea I could draw. And I went to my room and I drew her main character Cutter, looking at Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin, since all those voice actors were there. And I left empty voice balloons for each of our characters to say thank you for letting us sign in the booth, you know. And I gave it to her the next day, and she looks at this and she goes, oh my God, this is good. She says, Cutter is like really on model. And she says, I didn't know you could draw. And I said, well, I've been published a few times. And she said, wow, do you want to draw for me? And this is probably my favorite moment in my entire career. The floor just fell, you know, and I was suspended in midair, and I went back to being 14 years old, reading my first ElfQuest comic, and I'm like, oh, is this a trick question? I said, yeah, I would totally love to draw ElfQuest. And she said, okay, well then let's do it. And we set it up, and I went home, and I thought about it, and I kind of felt that my own artwork had reached a ceiling, you know, years before. And I actually stopped drawing comics like 3 years before this. So I called her up and I said, look, I am honored to draw this for you, and I'm definitely in. But I was wondering if we could change the terms. And she goes, what, you want some more money? And I went, no, the money's fine. I want to be your apprentice. She says, what do you mean? I said, I think you're a master and I want to study under you. Is there any way we can make that happen? And she said, yeah, move out to my studio and we'll work there and you'll be my apprentice. And I said, okay. So I moved to LA and I drew 2 58-page stories of ElfQuest and worked right under her. Every day I drew a page and I gave it to her, and I called it my daily scrutiny. And she would tell me what worked and what didn't and why. And I learned more in that year than I did 10 years on my own. It was an amazing, amazing experience. Now, that's your first question.
Yes.
Second question is, my favorite character is Skywise. And I love drawing Skywise. I love drawing Skywise so much that at one point Wendy had to say, Sonny, it's not Skywise Quest. Because I would put him in every panel. He is badass, and I love his design and everything about him. Like his character, he's a ladies' man. I love that about him. He's cool.
That's my sister's favorite character.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite for sure. The book that we did together was called In All But Blood, and it is now going for up to $900. Wow. Yeah, so you can't get it. Yeah, I don't think it'll sell for $900, but that's what they're asking for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this actually kind of goes along with your other question. You said you were such a fan of something or other. I heard at a previous convention you were a fan of Doctor Who.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Woo!
I never watched
I'm not a really good Doctor Who fan, though, because I only like the last 2.
Yay! Which one should I start out with if I've never seen it?
5.
5. Okay. Then which doctors?
10.
10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes. 'Cause there's no Doctor.
10 minutes.
There's no 10th Doctor. Oh, is there? Yes, there is. Yeah. What am I saying? Of course there is. Yeah, actually I got into Doctor Who because of Sketchapalooza, which is a thing I do on my Facebook page fairly regularly, and I will just let people request whatever they want, and you know, for I think it's $20 now, I'll draw it. And I kept getting a lot of requests for the 5th Doctor, or not the 5th, what's the 5th season Doctor, right? David.
Peter Davison.
And I was like, so I started seeing him a lot, and I was like, let me research this a little bit more, you know. And so I started watching it on Netflix, and then I was just like, this is good. Oh my God, this is good, you know. And so that's how I got into it. Yeah, I love it. And that's how I got into other things. I'm almost a brony because of the same reason. Because I didn't know anything about this new version of My Little Pony, but I kept getting these requests for it. And so I started looking it up, and I was like watching it on YouTube, and I went, this is actually a really good cartoon, you know? So I'm not quite a brony, but I can appreciate it. Yeah. Any other questions? In the back.
Can you talk about cues and a particular scene in a phone booth, or rather your experience?
You mean my death scene with Hughes? That was a really good experience because generally as voice actors, we don't get to see the script ahead of time. We just have to go in the booth and hope the director knows what he's talking about. And but that episode, especially the first time we did it, it was such a pivotal episode. It's, you know, launches the next season basically. So Mike McFarland, you're welcome. Mike McFarland, who directed the series, he said, I want to give you the original Japanese, it was on video at the time, and also a script so that you can have it a week ahead of time so you can really be familiar with this. So it was a really good experience, and we made sure that we made that episode very special. Depressing, you know, especially for me because I didn't work for 2 months after that. But I remember when it finally aired, and Mike said, hey, your death aired last night. And I went, great. He goes, oh, does that depress you? And I said, well, yeah, it was such a cool character. And he goes, I'm going to show you something that's going to cheer you up. And he took me to all the website forums where people were crying because Hughes died last night. And I went, that is awesome. And the nation cried. And if I didn't, Alicia did at the funeral. So, yeah, it was very sad. Yes?
You say that you don't get to see the script beforehand.
Right.
So was there ever times when you were in the booth going through, and then there was just some line that made you say, what? Why?
All the time.
Okay.
But you know, luckily our directors are very good, and so they can tell you exactly what's going on. You know. Yeah, it's. But you know what? I've written a lot of scripts too, and a lot of people go, "Why don't you just stick to the translations?" You know, and if you stuck purely to the translations, it makes no sense. You know, because it's very broken English. When you're writing a script for Funimation, you watch it the first 3 times just to figure out what's going on, and then you go, "Oh, I see what they're saying here." You know, and then you have to write it, you know, the way we say it. That being said, you should always stick to the intention, I think. You know, I think it's a better show. Unless the show sucks to begin with, but that rarely happens. Maybe Grappler Baki. Grappler Baki sucked, yeah. Okay, I admit it. Yes?
Have you ever been cast for a role and actually like recorded a bunch of lines for the character and then through directing, vision change or something like that, you were replaced by somebody else?
No, but that does happen occasionally. Generally, it's because we cast somebody who's never done it before, and that we have to replace them because they just when you're voice acting for anime, it's a little different than voice acting for other cartoons because you have to match those mouth flaps on there, right? And it's a rhythmic talent that you either have or you don't. When I was directing, I had done a lot of theater in Dallas and Fort Worth, and so I'd bring in some people who were brilliant actors. And I thought, oh, these guys are character actors, they're gonna just blow this away, right? But they couldn't get that rhythmic thing down. So generally, if we replace somebody, that's the reason. They just don't have that rhythmic talent. And it's not like a drumming rhythm talent, because I have no rhythm. See, it's nothing. But I have an ability to let myself go and let the screen take over my body and just sort of flow with the mouth that's going on the screen. And that's kind of the talent you have to have. And that's really generally the only reason you get replaced. Yeah.
That being said, a lot of voice actors have said in panels before that when they mess up, a slew of derogatory words comes out and it always fits the flaps. So it sort of experiences.
Well, yeah, Krillin cusses like a sailor when he gets a line wrong. But considering who his father is, it makes sense. And we come full circle. Yes. Almost impossible to do with a hangover, and yet you see it happen right here. How much time do we have left?
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes, got a couple more questions, and yes.
You've been doing this so long. Who's like one of your favorite people to work with?
I love working with Mike, especially with One Piece. He and I just crack each other up all day long. I love working with Chris Sabat, Laura Bailey, Colleen Klinkenbeard. I loved working with Justin when he was directing, Justin Cook. But now he's one of our main producers, so he doesn't direct anymore. Zach's a great director. We have a lot of good people to work with. Chris Bevins is fun to work with. I'm gonna name all of them so they'll cast me again. Tyler. Okay. Yeah.
So, what are the best and worst fan experiences you've ever had?
One of the best fan experiences I had was at this convention many years ago. And I was walking by the swimming pool, and this lovely young lady in the water said, "Oh, you're Mace Hughes." And I said, "Yes," and she flashed me. I was like, "Wow." Trying to get this ring on. And the dude in the water was a friend of hers, and he was just like this. So I looked at him and I said, "You've never seen this side of her before, have you?" And he was, I said, "Son, you owe me." Worst experience? I don't know. Probably my worst experience was it was a terrible thunderstorm in a layover in Vegas, and we thought we were going to die. We just kept circling the airport for 2 hours, and it was just a mess. And I was in first class because I got bumped up because I, first of all, missed a flight before because they said I was there not early enough. I was there an hour and a half early, but they said, "We're in a code orange, so you have to be there 2 hours early or lose your seat," you know? And I was like, "What?" And then when they found out that I had been bumped, they gave me first class, which was cool, but then I'm in this nightmare flight. And so I'm in first class and I hear the attendant say something like, "I hope they have enough gas." And I was like, "Why am I hearing this? That's not professional." And we landed, and then they put us up. They were not going to be able to get us to a flight till the next day, so they put us up in this horrible flea bag hotel. I get up to the counter, and this is a skeevy dive. And the guy behind the counter is on the phone, and he's like this. I swear to you, he's like, "No, Linda's not working tonight. No, maybe check later. She'll be back later." I was like, "What the hell's going on in this place?" And I got in, and the bed was disgusting. I slept in my clothes on top of the covers like this. I took a shower in the morning, and the bathtub instantly fills up with water. And I was like, ugh. So that was my worst experience ever. Yeah.
Is there somebody that's in the industry, whether it be the artistry or voice acting or what, that you haven't worked with that you want to work with?
Yeah, I would love to work with Mel Blanc, but he's dead. I would love to work with Jack Kirby, but he's dead. So yeah, maybe after I die, I can work with some people. But I've got to work with some wonderful people, so I don't feel like I'm lacking with wonderful people to work with. I think we about out of time here? We have 2 minutes. We have one more question, and we'll end it on your question. Yes, the guy who just spontaneously applauds.
It's the OAL manga industry.
What?
What's the state of the OAL manga industry?
The original language manga industry? What about it?
Yeah, what's the state of the industry there?
Well, the state of the industry in OEL. It's pretty much now been pushed to the internet, you know?
Okay.
I mean, that's where I see it now. I think it's developing really well though, because you know we have generations now who've been raised on this here. I've seen kids who can draw stuff that looks just like, you know, the Japanese draw it. When I do manga, people don't say it looks like manga, you know. It's like standard issue American style now because the influence is so prevalent. But I think it's good. I like being the self-publisher anyway because that's where I came from. With the internet, it's so easy to self-publish. You can print one book at a time if you want. Back when I was doing it, you had to do I mean, you had to come up with a few $1,000s to print, and it was a very expensive venture, and it's an easy way to go broke. So I think it's good. I'm anxious to see what happens in the future. You guys, thank you so much for coming here this morning. Appreciate your time. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you.
He's wonderful. Please see him at his signing at 12 o'clock at the main events annex. He will be signing over there, which is...